prophet Jeremiah speaks to his people about new and life-changing experiences. He's talking to an imprisoned group of people, imprisoned in a foreign culture, far away from their places of worship, removed from those among whom they have lived. He's speaking to them about return, renewal, good things, full harvests, cups flowing over, new potential in each and every life. Isn't this a wonderful message for a new year? For each and every one of us. We've concentrated a lot in recent months, and indeed over nearly 2 years, on much that has shaken us up, made us think again, and has limited our life experience, particularly in our contact with other human beings. But I think today, in this reading from Jeremiah, we're being challenged to a new optimism, a new powerful optimism in the power of God himself. This people had been abroad for some time, indeed, for certainly generations. This is not a message coming to those who left yesterday and are coming back today. They've understood what it is like to be separated from those around them. And yet Jeremiah speaks these words of comfort into their lives. These words of optimism. God is with them. He is bringing them home. He wants them to understand how much they are loved. And our gospel reading this morning speaks also of optimism. Tells us to look around and realize who we have with us. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Jesus comes into the world as an expression of God. Not just a newborn infant, but one from time immemorial. He comes to live among his people. He lets the light shine. And in that light, which can never be overcome, God's love is paramount in the expression of his creation and through the provision of his Son into the world. I was watching an old television program. I've become somewhat of a follower of YouTube. I'll just leave that for a moment for you to contemplate that. YouTube, I was watching an old run of an interview conducted by Tommy Tiernan, the Pride of Navan, and Andrea Corr. Andrea Corr, of course, had a very high-line pop life with her sisters and her brother. And they'd conquered many, many places, brought large crowds, and had known the acclaim of those crowds for them. Life has moved on for them. But in the conversation with Tommy Tiernan, he was asking her about the things that have been most meaningful for her. And she pointed to something which initially was quite surprising. She said, the most comforting, the most powerful experience I've had in recent times was a visit to the hospice in Harold's Cross. She said, on the face of it, it's a place of sadness. It's a place where hearts are broken. It's a place for the long goodbye. And yet, as she was invited to come and sing at the turning on of Christmas lights some years ago, she left that place on a spiritual high, having met with people who are prepared to share a loving embrace and care for families and care for individuals which is hard to define. As you know, we have had a long, enduring relationship with St. Bridget's Hospice on the Curragh. And again, through this winter season, we have once more fundraised for this very important cause. But one of the things we are investing in is not so much even that it is a place of comfort, but that it is, in fact, a place of hope. We find hopefulness in the love and care that people receive in these environments. We thank God for all those who contribute so much through the gentle care that is afforded to many. One of the things that struck me, having reflected upon Andrea Corr's contribution to that interview, was that we need to be seeking out places of positivity. It's so easy for us to be washed along on the tide of negativity, to take the news program as our agenda, to only hear of our failings and the failings of others, the breakdown of relationships, the corrosion that comes into communities, and indeed the destructiveness that raises itself through warfare among nations. It's easy to be swept away by that tidal wave of negativity. But can we do a thing for ourselves in this new year and set ourselves a New Year's resolution? And that is that we will embrace faithful optimism. Faithful optimism. We will embrace all the signs of God's love in our world today. When we see positive action, we will make our prayer of thanksgiving to God for what we see. And by doing so, not only will we try to support those who are giving of themselves, their energy and their love for others, but we will also commit ourselves to being agents of that same optimism, faithful optimism in the world around us. And there are many signs of that today. So committing ourselves in this new year and setting ourselves yet one more resolution, perhaps it's one that we can hold on to. And to bear in mind the responses to our prayers this morning, which again I think focuses back on what we can do to see God in action around us. The response to which we will all be part very soon: though we cannot see you, your love surrounds us. Though we cannot see you, your love surrounds us. Celebrating all that is love-filled in this new year, committing our ways to that same faithful optimism. May we commit our way to be instruments of God's love in the world, instruments of His transforming power, that we may be the lips that speak the words of comfort, the hands that bind up those who are wounded, and at all times celebrate what we see in the world around us, with that spirit of faithful optimism reflected so powerfully in our readings this morning, and part of God's never-ending agenda for our world.